I'm Gab. He's Jules. Blue skies over West London. What a show we have, Jules, because
Yeah.
it's getting closer.
It's just here, man.
It's just here.
Yeah.
The Premier League or La Liga has actually started in dribs and drabs, but we'll be bringing a bit of the Liga preview, a bit of Ligue 1 preview, a bit of Serie A preview. Bundesliga 9. We're going to wait another week because just like you guys are keeping us waiting. But we're going to start at the top talking about the Premier League preview. Pretty straight standard stuff. I find it remarkable, right? And there's an obvious reason why. Arsenal are the bookies' overwhelming favorites, but not by a little, but by a lot. And it's obvious why. They were in the Champions League final last year. They won the Premier League last year. They've had the same manager. I think he's now the longest serving manager in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken. They have stability, and they spent a lot of money most recently. Ezri Konsa. Everybody else either has a new manager or has a guy who was an interim guy last year or was there for a couple of weeks, like the Zerbi. And the teams all feel really incomplete.
Yeah.
The transfer window shuts in 11 days, so I think stuff can still happen. But it's a weird place to be in.
Yeah, I think so. I think the gap between Arsenal and the rest has gone bigger in the summer due to all the factors that you mentioned, Gabby. First, I think they're good summer in terms of recruitment. Yes, they lost Trossard and Saliba to an injury, so arguably their best player is not there for the start of the season. But Bruno Guimaraes and Solis and Konsana, I think, are very positive signings and make that team and that squad better, stronger, with more depth. And then you look at the others, and there's always question marks when a new manager arrives in a top club, especially. We all know that, and that goes for City with Maresca, for Liverpool with Iraola, for Chelsea with Xabi Alonso. And even for Spurs and United, as you say, Carrick was there in January, but the Zerbi has been there 2 minutes at the end of last season. And the recruitment, I think, varies differently between all those teams. I think Spurs have been great, Chelsea have been great, but there's a lot of things still to do for City, still to do for Liverpool, and probably for United as well. So I think I was on the FC show on Monday night, and we all said the gap is big now, it feels like, between Arsenal, the massively favorite to retain the title, and the rest behind.
Yeah, and the gap is big, and I want to stress, I have to think that these transfer windows are incomplete. I have to think that Liverpool are going to bring somebody in.
Yeah, sure.
I have to think, well, United, we know, are looking to bring somebody in. Chelsea need to ship a bunch of guys out because otherwise chickens are really coming home to roost in a big way. We had to do our predictions for the website. I made the point, like, I reserve the right to change all this because everything can change.
Of course.
But I just want to emphasize how it makes everything so much harder, especially for these incoming coaches, right? Because these guys were locked up a long time ago. Iraola knew in June that he was coming. And I think he would have fairly expected, okay, let's put our ducks in a row. We know Ekitike is out until January. We want this, we want that. And they all talk about there's a lack of time to work and everything. They're in European competition, which gives you even less time. Now you don't have the players to work. How are you supposed to create the chemistry? How are you supposed to create the automatism that's required out there? Like, sometimes I find this sport really frustrating because you pay coaches a lot of money and then you don't give them the tools. And I think this is reflected this year. I don't think it's a coincidence that it doesn't automatically mean that just because if you keep a guy there for a long time, he's going to get better every year. It doesn't work that way either. But you have to have a plan. And I look at this, and especially when it comes to Liverpool and United, Chelsea have been a basket case for a long time. This is really disappointing. And City too, because also they knew Pep was leaving.
Yeah,
right?
I think so, yeah. I think it's tough. I remember Iraola maybe a month ago after one of the early friendlies saying, I need more players now. I need more signings, more arrivals. And it's been difficult for them to sign the players that they want. And again, I admire in a way that you've got plan A, plan B, plan C for a position, and you are chasing plan A. Great. At some point, if you can't get plan A with 10 days to go, maybe it's time to go to plan B or even plan C, even if they're not as good. Or you don't have a plan B and C and you just wait another 6 months for plan A. Sure, we've seen that in the past. That has worked certainly very well with the Van Dijk at Liverpool. But you look at those squads and they're clearly incomplete. And if we find them incomplete, all the Liverpool fans or other clubs, not just Liverpool, will find them incomplete, and so will be the manager.
Yeah, and when we talk about incomplete, like, I'm not just saying, oh no, go and spend money, bring in players. I know any moron can do that. I'm talking about especially when we have Iraola, who shares some aspects with Slot and Klopp, but is a different coach. You're coming in, and I don't want to pick on him because it's true of other clubs too. You need time to work so you come up with a presentable team. Otherwise, your team's not going to be the real team until October. Anyway, we're going to break this down further on the Gab and Jules podcast and also do something I don't like doing, predictions. All right, Jules, I'm going to come out and say it when we did our predictions. We're going to get more into predictions later. I did not pick Arsenal to win the title, and I gave myself the caveat, it's still so early this season, for the simple reason that it's extremely difficult to repeat in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Especially difficult for Arsenal to repeat in the Premier League, something they haven't done since 1936, I believe, when I think Herbert Chapman was the manager, a little bit before my time. Herbert Chapman, by the way, who won 3 league titles in a row. Anyway, so I said, all right, well, then I'll pick City because, Erling Haaland, blah, 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 and they have money. I look at it now, and I don't like my City pick at all. And I ask myself, and again, there's time in the window, so they can fix this. They can bring people in. But I almost feel like City are second favorites just because everybody else just looks so far away. We don't know what to think. We don't know what to expect. We don't know how Manchester United are going to work when Carrick has to start coaching twice a week.
Yeah. But it's City as well, and even without Pep, even without Rodri or Bernardo Silva, and they've gone through this process of getting younger player because their squad needed to be younger, and they arrived at the end of a cycle. I think we said that already last summer. But it's still City. There's still a savoir-faire. Maresca was there as an assistant before. He's a very different personality to Pep. And I think it will work. It's a work in progress. It will maybe take a little bit of time to get everybody fully sharp and match fit, as we saw in the Community Shield. Like Haaland is far from that, for example.
We should also say, for bigger, heavier players, it always takes them more time to achieve that sharpness, even with the sports.
But Haaland has always been great in August. The guy always starts seasons great. This is a bit different because he's had a World Cup for the first time ever to deal with, and he hasn't played a single second in preseason like you and I, basically. We played as much for City in preseason than he did. So it's difficult. But Maresca is a good coach. They will still have a great squad. They will get there. It will take a bit of time, maybe. But I've got no issue. I really have no worries in the sense that they are, for me, still the strongest contender to Arsenal and the most likely to be the one pushing them the most. I would have Chelsea quite close because I really believe in Xabi Alonso and what he wants to do. And some of the players they've signed, I think, are very smart signings. But City, I think, have to be the second favorite.
Yeah, I had Chelsea in the top 4 as well, based largely on Xabi Alonso. And also the fact that, and I think this always gets underestimated, the importance of not playing midweek football, not playing, not having those 8 Champions League or Europa League fixtures. It just takes a lot out of you, especially when you're a new coach. You can find your rhythm. That said, given the chaos at Chelsea that now we have behind the scenes with players needing to go, I'm not 100% confident that Chelsea are going to make a quantum leap to, forget Arsenal's level, to Man City's level in one season. I look further back, Tottenham, I just feel like they have to make up so much ground. This is a team that finished 1 spot above relegation last year.
Yeah.
And it also feels like it's a team that I don't want to say that the transfer activity has been outsourced to agents to move people on and whatnot. And you could definitely say the same thing about Chelsea, right? The joke is that Ali Barat is now the 6th director of football at the club. But I think it takes a lot out of it. I think giving the Zerbi so much latitude is not a good thing. Not when you've been there 3-4. It's not a good thing, I think, ever, with very few exceptions.
Maybe it was the only way, I don't know. And we will see, to be fair. I think they will have a really good season. No Europe, again, I think is massive for them. Some of the signings like Van Heck and Senesi, even Robertson in midfield with Tonali and your boy, Matheus Fernandes, who you love. I think, and it's not finished, by the way. They will add a winger. They will add a number 9.
We'll be talking about that later.
Yeah. Whether they've overpaid or not, whether they didn't spend well, as in didn't spend their money well overall, is another issue. But I think they will have a super competitive squad. Already, you see the progress they've made with the ball, and I think they will be very difficult to play against. They will lead goals. I think they will score loads of goals too, and I think it will be a great ride for them. I expect them to finish top six because I think they really have everything for it. But there's also the De Zerbi factor that at some point things could implode. It could go a bit crazy. It would be really fun to watch.
Fun to watch. Will Manchester United be fun to watch?
I think so. I think so. I believe in Carrick. There's the momentum from last season where they were really probably even the second best team after behind Arsenal, even probably better than City over the 6 months where Carrick took over January to May, a bit less than 6 months. You will carry that momentum. It's the same squad, really.
Well, except for midfield.
Yeah, except for Casemiro, but Casemiro is always expected to leave. So then you've added Tielemans and Andre Santos. Then maybe Baleba might come. You've got Rashford who is back, and we're not sure in what kind of mindset. But I think a good Rashford is an added value, even as a super sub to your squad. The rest, and Bomo is there and should be better. Bruno is still there in his peak years. Sesko should be better. You even have like a Zirkzee type that is a different profile to what you have. That if you use well, could maybe add you a few goals off the bench, which I think is valuable. And defensively, okay, maybe defensively, but De Ligt is back. Euro should be better. And if they sign a decent left back to back up Shaw or be in competition with Shaw, then I think they've got a really good squad.
I don't see it. I think this is a squad which has some serious flaws, and maybe Michael Carrick can make it work.
I mean, he made it work already last season.
Yes and no. I would argue. I would argue that United were getting results. I don't think, especially as the season wore on, that last bit of the season when City tailed off and United kind of kept winning. Weirdly, I think actually United probably played better in February and March than they did in April and May. So obviously the results kept coming. We say, it's all about results. But the reason I always favor performance, and performance I think gives you a much better indication of what's going to come than what came before.
But they had those as well. The game at Arsenal was really good.
I don't know. I think
it was great.
I think you need right. We already talked about the fact that they have to play in Europe as well.
Yeah.
I think you need a quantum leap forward from Benjamin Sesko. I think if Cunha is your center forward, I mean Cunha will play.
Yeah, it'd be Mbomo. Mbomo played as a number 9 in preseason, so he'd be the backup number 9 for Sesko.
If Mbomo plays, but that's a completely different profile, and it's Brian Mbomo, by the way. I want to say it with. Well. I'm saying it was the greatest of respect, but is Brian Mbomo asking him to be your center forward? Sesko has a higher ceiling. Sesko also has a pretty lower floor because when Sesko's not working, Sesko doesn't work, right? That would be my concern, and obviously the other big concern is in central midfield. I don't know what happened with the Ederson deal. He signed a new contract with Atalanta just yesterday. He spoke about it. He said he passed his medical. He doesn't know what happened. Now we'll see. Again, we're going to talk about Baleba later, but to me, you are gambling. You're taking a lot of gambles. And when you're talking about,
I don't think Tielemans is a gamble. I don't think Tielemans is a gamble at all.
If he has this season that he had, Tielemans' career has been marked by ups and downs.
Well, not in the last 3 years. He's only been up with Villa. He hasn't been down.
Yeah, but Tielemans before Villa, when he was in the prime of his career, was a guy who's been up and he's been down.
He's very much in his prime, Tielemans, right now. He's like, I don't have any worries about Tielemans. I think he's going to be great for United. But so I don't see it. I think Baleba could be a smart signing. You know, I like Andre Santos more than a lot of people, and I might be wrong.
Right. And you're big on Kobe.
I like Kobe if you use him well. It's always the same. And last season when Carrick used him well, we saw very good Kobe. I don't know what happened at the World Cup, why he didn't get any minutes at all. But I think he's a very good player if you use him on his qualities.
And his qualities are different from the other central midfielders that they have, which to me can be good with the right manager, can be bad in the sense that if you're going to play 2 out of those 3, then assuming Tielemans always plays, but if it's going to be 2 out of those 3, then you're bringing in a guy who has a different skill set, and then when you have more of a system coach, that means you have to make an adjustment. When you have more of a guy who can say, like, I'm so good at coaching that I can bring this guy in and everybody can adjust because suddenly there's a different type of threat, there's a different profile there, then it can be a positive. I just don't have this faith in Carrick that he is that guy to do that, as opposed to having a system that you execute. That would be my concern with United. That's why I'm not sure about United finishing top four. I may put them back into the top four because of what's going on at Chelsea right now. But I think this is, for most of the league, this is going to be a transition season.
Yeah.
For Arsenal, I think this is clearly consolidation season. I think there's some nerd deep at Arsenal who looked at trends and said, wait a minute. And then went to Berta, and Arteta says, all right, if you guys want to double down by chucking even more money than we've spent before, this is the time to do it, because this is where we can put our foot on the neck of the opposition.
I mean, they didn't need to look at the trends. I think everybody knew that this was the moment for Arsenal to dominate. And I think this is it where it's on them. I think the pressure is almost as high as it was last season after 3 second places where they were expected to win the title finally after all that time, 22 years. And now the expectations is for them to retain it. And I won't say to do it easily, because it's the Premier League and nothing is easy and it won't be easy for them. But they should really do it. They are the best team. They have the best squad. They have the stability and the consistency and the momentum. There's no really, apart from Saliba, which I think is a big negative, but still, there's no, everything else is like green lights.
Looking at the bottom end of the table, and you follow the championship, I don't. I'm reserving judgment on who's going down until I actually see these guys play. But I did look at the bookies' odds. Nobody seems to believe in poor Hull City.
No,
Is it 3 up, 3 down, you think? Or
I think if there's one team amongst Coventry, Ipswich, and Hull that stays up, is Coventry. Big investment, over £100 million spent already on 8 players. Some really interesting young ones like Caleb Yerenki that we saw with Ghana at the World Cup, like Siddiqui Sheriff, that obviously if you watch Ligue 1 you know really well. Young potentials, a bit more experience as well has arrived. Is Frank Lampard, who you would hope has learned from what he did well before and not so well in the Premier League. And I think for me, they were by far the best team in the Championship. Like I said, better than Ipswich, better than Hull City. So they probably have the biggest chance to stay up and do a Sunderland in a way. But even if they finish 17th, they'll be very happy with that. Ipswich is a new manager, and Gary O'Neill. Again, some interesting signings in some positions with a bit of experience, Premier League proven, like Issa Diop, for example. And for Hull, it's a bit different. It's signings with not much budget. Like, I think them going up was never the plan, and it's probably way too early, or was way too early. So I think they'll struggle. Ipswich probably too, but Coventry, I think they've got hope.
So the reason I was a little higher on Ipswich, and as I understand it, Kieran McKenna leaving is a blow, is that some hardcore numbers people who I know and respect told me that when they came up last time, their signings and their outlook were, it was almost like these are signings for a team that wants to get not wants to get relegated, but that expects to be relegated, and then will come back stronger a year later. And they told me about, they raved about how smart the people at the club were. Now, obviously, presumably they didn't plan on McKenna leaving.
Yeah.
So O'Neill's going to have to pick up that legacy. I look at the other teams in the Premier League, and I do wonder, just because I don't think he's a good coach from the 6 months I saw him at Real Madrid, and I appreciate Real Madrid's very different from Fulham, other the fact that they both play in white. Could Fulham drop into that group? Are they the likeliest? Is
Maybe.
it Sunderland?
No.
Is it West Ham?
I mean, West Ham are done already.
No, I just
so
I'm saying. I mean, to do a West Ham. I meant. Sorry.
No, I don't. No, I mean, I see Fulham's squad, and again, I think there's enough talent there for them to stay up and not be in that bottom 3. I think Sunderland, okay, we'll have to cope with Europe, but again, they've made some smart signings, and I think Regis Lebris is building on what was there last season with a lot of stability too among the key players, and that's very important. So I don't expect them to to go down. You could look at Newcastle and thinking they're not going to go down, but thinking, okay, what is Yasler going to do? Are they going to trouble? Are they going to be like between 10 and 15? Which would be also interesting to follow. But I do think there's a gap between even the weakest of those Premier League, more established teams and the three that went up from the Championship.
All right, one team that did not change their manager and has been confounding experts for the last couple of years are Aston Villa and Unai Emery. I look at this. They're 33-1. They're the next highest outside of the traditional Big Six. And by the way, when we talk about Big Six, it's all about revenue. It's not about nothing other than revenue. That's all it is, right? I'm talking about how big a club is, size of your fan base. It's all just revenue. Can he do it again? Like, can he sneak Villa? Given, I mean, we can point out so many flaws in Spurs and Chelsea and United and Liverpool right now, and the rebuilds and the new coaches. Can he do it again? Can he ride that stability into the top four or close to it?
Yeah, close to it, sure. But losing the players that they lost is tough. You know, no Konsa. Okay, Ding maybe not so much.
Morgan Rogers is the big one.
Rogers are the ones.
Maybe really. Watkins too.
Maybe Watkins too, yeah. And it's who you replace them with. Who you replace them with. Tielemans, obviously, we mentioned earlier. Because you will sign a Joe Gomez, for example, who I think is a smart signing from them, but he's not ready yet to be at the kind of level of the players that you lost. You know, same with Manzambi, great World Cup, really good at Freiburg. He's injured, and then when he comes back,
Onana's injured too. He's going to be out a long time.
The Joe Gomez is also to cover more Onana, to be fair, than Tielemans, but. It's that, and they will need a bit of time to get those new signings, especially the younger ones who don't have the Premier League experience, up to the level that they need them to be. So there's a point where he won't be able to do it. And don't forget that last season it's easier to play in the Europa League and in the league than it is to play in the Champions League and in the league for obvious reasons. And that made their season easier domestically, I thought, last season than they would be this year. But it's still a great ride. The fans will be there. They are refurbishing Villa Park and all of that. So it's a very exciting time to be an Aston Villa fan and an Aston Villa player or director or manager.
And Matteo Ruggeri's coming too to make things even more exciting.
But I think that what they've showed though, and with sporting director changing quite regularly, is how smart they were with the signing. So there's no reason why they won't be able to do it again. Certainly like a top 6 finish, but.
We should say they, like Chelsea, are under a UEFA settlement and they're Newcastle. Under PCR restrictions and Newcastle, and it is much harder to operate. These rules exist for a reason, but it just does mean that they have a lot less latitude. And if you show up with a bag of cash like Arsenal did with Konsa, then
you have to accept.
You have to probably accept.
Yeah, of course.
All right, predictions. I will caveat this. We're recording this. It's August 20th. The window's still open. I reserve the right to change all my predictions. I'm going to keep my top 4. I'm going to go City, Arsenal. Just City and Arsenal. No.
You can go for your top 2, really.
Yeah. I'm going to go City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea.
Okay, so United in 5th. Not even 5th?
I don't like these players as much as you do. I don't see Carrick's track record as positively as you do. I think when you don't play in Europe, you can come up with some kind of bogus results.
Yeah. Fair enough. I've got Arsenal winning the league. I've got City 2nd still. I've got Chelsea 3rd because I think I believe in Xabi Alonso. Then between Liverpool and United, I'm waiting to see what Liverpool do next, obviously. But, I'll happy have United now and, like, for now, in that 4th spot, Liverpool in 5th, and Spurs and Villa battling out for 6th place. But I can easily have Liverpool ahead of United too. But I do believe in Carrick and in Xabi Alonso, to be fair.
And like I said, guys, before you turn into haters, it's for now. It's August 20th. The window's still open. All right, enough Premier League preview stuff. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Atletico de Madrid beat newly promoted Malaga as La Liga's staggered start kicks in. Jules, 2 pretty nifty goals.
Amazing free kick from Baena late. He came off the bench. He's not ready to start yet. And Kangin Lee with a lovely coming inside, kind of Arjen Robben finish, if you want, from the edge of the box. Even if everybody knew he was going to do that, it was still really good.
All right, Tekker's corner here. we see we see people come in from the wing, cut inside, and shoot. But he's running really fast when he does it.
Yeah,
How
but
does he get the shot off so clean while moving so quick? That cannot be easy.
Yeah, I think at that level, you see those goals a lot, like you said. So he's not.
Yeah, but not
that
from Kang and
difficult.
Lee.
Well, yeah, no, he's done it before, and it's more the defending from the Malaga players. There are 3 players, or 2 are turning their backs. It's really poor from them, but great finish. And also, there was 0-0 until then, and although they had chances, it was a little bit nervy then at the Metropolitano. Very mixed teams from El Cholo, because you got to Dominguez, a 16-year-old centre back who's very promising. And the story of the summer for them is that Ortiz player on that left hand side who looked really sharp again, although he's 24, and this could be a breakthrough season. It's quite late, but yeah, I thought once everybody would be there and sharp, and we saw Soloth, your friend, in the stands with the misses.
Yeah, Rademola Lukman up front. Who needs Julian Alvarez?
I mean, exactly. But yeah, they will need to do better to compete with Real Madrid and Barcelona. But I thought that was an entertaining game, and Malaga played some good football at time. They would be decent. I think Malaga will stay up.
And the back three, we'll see how long that continues.
That half time because that was not really.
No, but with Romero there, you assume that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, let's see. And Gab, the other La Liga heavyweights make their debut this weekend. What's your take on the title race?
It's obviously big Real Madrid or Barcelona, right? I get hate from Barcelona fans when I question what they do in the transfer window, so I'm a little circumspect on this one. I think Mourinho's going to go at the other end because it's Mourinho. He's going to go all in on Champions League or La Liga if it comes down to it. If there's a tight title race, I think he will make a call. I think Real Madrid have strengthened to the point that they can only kind of stop themselves this season, and I think Barcelona, as we often see, when you won a title, when you won 2 titles, you start devoting more energy towards Europe.
Yeah.
Obviously, Rodri's going to help. Who's going to score the goals up front? Do I like Karim Adeyemi or Anthony Gordon as my center forward?
Abdel Karim, he scored again last night against Al
the Iranian wonder kid.
Yeah,
Egyptian wonder kid.
Yeah, 18 years old. He looked sharp.
Yeah, and obviously he's been in the system there for a couple of years. Hossam Hassan told me he reminds me of myself at when he was younger.
But we saw Lamine Yamal playing at number 9 at training as well. That could be fun. That could be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily.
I want to see a front three of Gordon, Lamine, and Rafinha on the right side for sure.
Lamine through the middle.
Yeah, I would love to see. I want to see. I'm not saying that it's going to work. I would love to see it.
Liga 1 kicks off on Saturday, Jules. Not going to ask you to predict a winner. Tell us who else excites you and why. 12
teams of 18 changed managers in the summer, and I think that's very exciting in itself. Some experience like Dino Topmoller, who took over a loss, for example, and then you've got the younger ones.
Ancelotti.
Exactly, Davide Ancelotti at Lille. You've got Felipe Luis at Monaco. You even have Pep Genesio, our friend in Marseille, who's more with the Topmoller type, like the experienced ones.
More old.
Yeah. So the most experienced one, not young like the other 2, but I think that's exciting. Let's see what kind of football they play. It was a tough summer where a lot of clubs had to sell well and recruit with little, but that's the reality of the French league. So we're going to get and see more youngsters coming through, more academy products and all of that, which is very exciting in itself. The question is not so much who's going to win it, but more who will finish behind PSG in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all of that. See what Paulo Fonseca can do with Lyon, one of the rare clubs with a bit of stability there, certainly on the bench. But yeah, it should be a really interesting season.
I can't believe you said Lyon and stability in the same sentence. But we live in an exciting new era. But so many really interesting coaches to watch. I know you have talents and all, but the coaches pretty impressive in Lyon.
Absolutely, and Liam Rossigno is back in France. Will Steele is back in France too, so plenty to watch. Serie A also makes his debut this weekend. Gabi, who can challenge Inter?
Again, even what I said before about the Premier League applies even more to Serie A because, hey, let's look for last-minute shopping bargains at the market shutting down. I really like what Roma have done. I love the Punisher, Santiago Castro, and now that they've added Rodrigo Mora, that's exciting. Are they a little too young? I don't know. Inter have to be the favorites. I'm really intrigued, and I'm going to ask you later about Diego Moreira and Milan. Right now, I'm going to say Roma and Milan, but I reserve the right to change my mind many times over between now and September 1st. Jules, we're not done. We have more quick hits. Arsenal continue to run rampant in the transfer window. They've agreed a fee for Ezri Konsa too now, Jules.
Yeah, they have. To be fair, I think they wanted him through the whole summer. I heard his name really early on in the summer. Even with the injury to Saliba, of course, but also to strengthen that kind of like right hand side, I would expect probably Ben White to go now, or Julian Timber is going to come back from injury as well. That means you will have a lot of defenders. They've spent a lot of money now on Bruno Guimaraes and Solis for really only the return of Norgard, a bit of money there, but Trossard especially. That's not enough. So I think they probably will have to sell. They're trying to sell Martinelli, who said no to Galatasaray, for a fee around 45 million euros, which I think Arsenal were very happy with. But so let's see where they go. But in terms of what Konsa can bring, I think that's, for me, it's an outstanding signing. And at £50 million, I think it's a really good value.
Yeah, I don't know how easy it is to find a taker for Ben White in terms of a place that he wants to go to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he can sit, I think he's got a year left on his contract.
Yeah.
So he can sit tight and then kind of bide his time. I agree. They do need to cost some money back. Gabriel Jesus as well. You're not going to get any money for him, but you'll get his wages off the bill. But yeah, I don't know, Mark. We don't know the inside workings, but I think it is laying down a pretty ambitious marker for this season.
Across North London, Spurs have already spent big on Sandro Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, and Jean-Paul Van Heck. But they're not stopping there, Gabi. Roberto De Zerbi wants more attacking option and is looking at Omar Marmoush and Savinho.
Yeah. Well, we talked last week or on Monday about Omar Marmoush leaving. I think if Marmoush leaves, City have to buy another attacking player because you can't. I mean, Erling Haaland isn't actually a cyborg. You know that. He just looks like one.
Yeah.
He can break down. He needs maintenance sometimes.
Even him, yeah.
And then, Semenyo, Divine, I think you need another body in there. And Marmoush hasn't had the best of times of late. Why? But the thing is, these guys are going to be expensive. The Times are saying that City have been quoted Spurs a price of 85 million.
Nobody
for
can pay that for Savinho. Nobody will ever pay 85 million for Savinho. This is ridiculous.
But this is, and if Savinho goes, by the way, they could be a little bit shorthanded in terms of wingers too.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
I don't love Savinho. I certainly don't love him at 85 million. I personally wouldn't pay a third of that for Savinho. But and certainly City can't lose Marmoush and Savinho in one go. These prices to me seem like
unless
something.
they're replacing them, yes, for sure. But
but they're also probably looking around and saying, well, we're working on our central midfielders. If you want us to replace them, we'll have to overpay. Then you overpay us for these guys so that we can overpay to replace these guys. Speaking of Manchester City, we talked extensively about their midfield rebuild. Enzo Fernandez and Ayub Wadi could yet be on their way. So could Adam Wharton. He's been linked. Manu Kone has emerged as an alternative as well. Okay, I'm not going to ask you out of those four, who would you take? Because you're going to tell me Enzo and Boadi. But Manu Kone versus Adam Wharton for City?
I mean, I would love Manu Kone to go to City because I think they will take him to another level and I think he's got that potential.
You don't think Roma can take him to another level?
Paris born and bred, of course, but I think the step up from Roma to City and the Premier League, where I think his skill set is fits perfectly, would help. He's been offered to literally the whole of Europe this summer. Clearly, Roma would like to cash in on him, and I can understand that. But I think there's others before him for City. And Wharton, I think that's a really interesting one because I can see him fitting at City more than at Liverpool, certainly for Maresca, more than for any Raiola side.
I do wonder if you're Wharton, do you go there and all right, this kid Boadi's coming now too. Is he going to take my job?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you're Wharton, you want to move so you can play regularly.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's Wharton or Boadi. You can't. I don't think. I think you need different profiles. You would not be both. The Bundesliga kicks off in a week time because this weekend is the German Super Cup between Dortmund and Bayern. But let's talk about Harry Kane. Gabi, he's got a year left on his contract in Munich and would like a new 3-year deal. Barca apparently are monitoring.
Yeah, look, Harry Kane had a phenomenal season last year. He placed top in the FC 100 among forwards, something that maybe you didn't quite agree with.
I didn't at all.
But he shouldn't get a three-year deal. I think it's as simple as that. I know when he was born because he was born the same day I was.
He was,
only
indeed.
10 days, only 10 years
Just
later.
a little bit younger than you.
Yeah,
not
20
much.
20 years later, actually. And the same day as Michael Carrick as well.
Yeah, true.
There you go. Jules memorizes everybody's birthdays.
I mean, I think this is a great quiz question about Gab Marcotti.
And Joe Navarre as well, also born July 28th.
We're not sure about when she was born exactly, but yeah.
Record keeping wasn't quite the same back then. But Jackie Onassis too. I got to stop now. Look, Barcelona can keep monitoring all they want, unless Harry Kane throws a tantrum and refuses to play and moves it in a free. He ain't coming.
No.
Have this conversation in a year's time if he looks fit and he's available as a free agent. But I think Bayern got to where they are by being disciplined, and they know that Harry Kane is a professional and he's not going to behave unprofessionally over a contract. If he contract expires at the end of the season, he's going to give you everything. Michael Carrick, also born July 28th, I just mentioned. Until it says he needed reinforcements in midfield. Now United linked with a £65 million move for Brighton's Carlos Baleba. Do you like this?
So I think the profile is the right one in terms of that kind of power and energy and everything, both defensively and with the ball carrying runs and stuff like that. I think this is great. 65 million for Baleba, who was worth twice that probably 18 months ago. So it shows you how quickly things can go because he didn't have a good season last year. I think he was still a bit hungover from not having the move that he thought he would get a year ago, for example, and plus injuries and things like that. So you mentioned him earlier, Gabby, as a gamble. I think part of it, I agree with you, yes, because he's far from his best form. He's been far from his best form for a bit now. I still think there's huge potential there. And if you unlock him, then he's great.
You need to do your homework. You need to know exactly why Hertzler last season decided. He just basically dropped them. I think he only made like 20 starts last season.
Yeah. Let's talk Chelsea now, Gabby. Todd Bowley and Mark Walter are reportedly looking to sell the third of the club to the other ownership group, Clear Lake. I mean, we talked a lot before about their kind of ownership. Why is this important, significant, and can you just explain it a bit better maybe for people?
Yeah, basically, Mark Walter and Todd Bowley used to work together at Guggenheim. They've been business partners in the past. Mark Walter's under investigation by the DOJ in the U.S. for stuff to do with some insurance companies he has an interest in. He needs to come up with money quickly. That's part of the reason why he sold the LA Lakers. And the thinking now is he wants to liquidate. I don't know how much this moves the needle because reportedly he needs to come up with billions. And his Chelsea stake, I think he paid maybe a couple $100 million for it.
Okay.
Now, it could be worth more now because obviously if he's selling to Clear Lake, you have to sell to Clear Lake or Clear Lake, I think, have to approve any new sale to another external guy. But the question is, has the value of Chelsea as a football club gone up from the 2.5 billion? And I'm not sure it has. They haven't built the stadium. Their results have been up and down. They've been out of Europe twice in 3 seasons. So I look at this. I don't know that I can understand them wanting to get out and get some liquidity. Yeah. That means Bedare Bali and Jose Feliciano and the people at Clear Lake are going to have even more control at the club. Bowley reportedly said, "Oh no," because I think it's an open secret that they've fallen out.
Said, they don't.
No, I don't want to. I'm never going to sell to him. Well, now he may not. He may not have a choice. Yeah, Hans-Jörg Wyss is the other equity owner in that trio. This is sort of Chelsea related, I guess. Milan have spent 50 million on Strasbourg's Diego Moreira. Do you like this, Jules?
So I think it's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
It's too much money. I mean, I think Strasbourg could not believe their luck when that offer landed. I would say, though, a lot of good things about Diego Moreira. I really do. And I know he was on Chelsea's books at some point, and they tried to bring him back. He didn't want to go back. I think if El Milan was probably better for him, he would play more. He's a really versatile, talented boy. He's only 22. He just turned 22 earlier this month. He's got pace. He's got energy. He's a great guy to have in your dressing room. He would make the dressing room happy and with great vibes. I could not speak more highly of him, really. 50 is a lot, probably a bit too much. I think his value is probably around 35 to 40, to be honest. But there's great potential there. And again, at that age, I think they can make him a really, really, really good player.
All right, so Gila, Diego Moreira, Gonzalo Ramos, they've spent
A lot of money.
close to 150 million.
Yeah.
Nobody's giving you crazy money for Lau. And with Lau, by the way, it changes 1 week. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep. Oh, no, he's going to go. We're going to keep. Yeah, we hear Fofana, Tomori. Maybe Tomori's going to replace Konsa.
Yeah, I think it's
Villa.
probably
Yeah,
likely.
but how much money are you going to get from Tomori
yeah,
with
no,
a year
no,
left
yeah.
at his age, right? Like, how's this going to work, Jules?
I know. We'll have to see what happens between now and the end of the window for sure. Kevin Lamour, FIFA's de facto third in command, who published that scathing letter attacking Gianni Infantino, has officially left. Gabby, what does that mean and what happens next?
So we knew he was going to leave. It's obviously like, FIFA have learned from football clubs like, mutual consent.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
There's nothing mutual consent about this, right?
They sacked
Like,
him.
effectively, and his position became untenable. And I'm sure FIFA rightly went them all. If you don't believe in what we're doing, then why don't you resign?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm not going to resign. You have to fire me. No, it costs too much money. Okay, so let's come up with. This is how
exactly.
corporations work.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. I think what happens is what we've said is happening and will continue to happen for the next for the next couple months is people are going to go drum up support, see if there's a viable candidate.
Could he be the guy?
Kevin Lamour?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, he's not the biggest profile enough.
He's very light, but yeah, he's not. Drum up support. Next week, of course, is Champions League draw in Monaco, so all the UEFA bigwigs will get together.
And you?
I will be there as well.
Of course.
That's right.
You're a big wig too.
Exactly. And I think UEFA have to start thinking about their next move because obviously the Women's Euros is up next, and already there's the women's
Under-20 World
women's
Cup.
under-20 World
Yeah.
Cup. So this threat of not playing European teams, it's really interesting. Because PR-wise, people are already pushing the opposite narrative, like we said about oh, UEFA, you hate women's football. This is why you're denying these young women. If UEFA is serious about boycotting this, what they need to do, and maybe what they are doing, is put together a plan that says, all right, we're boycotting this because we think it's more important. We're going to organize a series of games in these stadiums for these players, and we're going to lay out a plan. We're going to even fund it if we have to, so Poland the Polish FA, the organizers don't lose money. And instead of playing this in September, we're going to go and we're going to play a different one.
Yeah.
Or if Johnny goes as we want, we're going to play this in the spring or whatever. There's a lot of gaps in women's under-20 football in the in the fixture list where they can do this, but they have to be smart about how they do it because this narrative about women are paying the price. No. They're more than right. These aren't professional women. It's under-20 Women's World Cup. It has to happen. It has to happen in the right conditions. It just happens that it's the first FIFA competition.
Yeah.
Jamal Musiala has announced he has a neurological dysfunction, his words, after he collapsed for the second time in 2 friendly games. Jules, I was going to mention this on Monday, and then I thought, he said his blood sugar was low, whatever. You're medically adjacent. And I think the responsible thing is to speculate on somebody else's medical condition without being a doctor, without actually having... No, I'm kidding. But it's scary.
Or we take his word because it looked scary, to be fair, watching it. I think if you remember Saibari's face when it happened, because he was quite close by, and obviously Saibari has been scarred forever of what happened to Nouri many years ago at Ajax. But so then I think we can take the words of Jamal Musiala, who was very open, I thought, about it, and saying, listen, this is something that happens to me, that has always happened to me, that I'm kind of used to. They've explained to me what it was. It might look scary. For me, it's not scary. Bayern didn't seem that worried either, to be fair. But so at least now we know, and it's out there, and maybe everybody can kind of deal with it in the best way. It doesn't look like his life is in danger when he's on the football pitch. I think he's different to an Eriksen type, if you want, or Muamba type. But when you see it happening, it is really scary.
It's look again. We're not doctors. We don't know.
No,
we only take what he has shared, and I think he has to be applauded for his transparency. If this is going to happen. I don't remember this happening before. He says it's happened to him all his life. Maybe it did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
On the pitch, I don't recall.
I don't recall it either. And also,
yeah.
You can't have this happening on the pitch. You can't be playing and then you need to say, look, he's fine. But we just have to make a substitution.
I agree.
It does. I think, calling to mind a broader debate about the sort of test that football clubs do on players. There was the player's responsibility, the club's responsibility. Um, Hopeful. I don't know if there's a cure or a treatment for this, but yeah, I think it's obviously the best solution for everyone that
Yeah, I
it gets
agree.
better.
Inter and Liverpool have reached a deal over Curtis Jones. It's around 13 million euros plus 5 in bonuses. Good move, Gabby.
Um, Obviously, Liverpool think it's a good move because they've been trying to get rid of him when he wouldn't. Or
Yeah, I have to say, I think he's a really good player. I don't understand why, unless they need money, which might be the reason.
I think
because
it's
it's obviously
because
a
they
home
weren't-
ground, so it's all pure profit, as we always say.
Yeah, they weren't willing to commit to a multi-year contract at the level that he wanted to for him.
Yeah,
And I think he wanted to play regularly. He looked around and he says, "Well, who's ahead of me in this?" At the start of last season, and we was drawing those 4-2-3-1s. Not even Soboslai was in the starting lineup, so he was like number 5, number 6, and he's like, "I don't want to be taken for granted. I don't want to play right back." Right, so. I think he's going to bring energy to Inter. He's going to bring physicality. We know that certain types of players in the Premier League can do well in Serie A. He's also battle tested, been there, done that. Inter get younger. So from their perspective, it's fine. The transfer fee is not very high,
No,
as you
it's
would
good.
expect for a guy with a year left. I mean, compared to Rodri's fee. I'm not
Yeah,
even
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that Rodri and Curtis Jones are in the same galaxy, but we are talking
Absolutely.
about a guy who is 5 years younger.
yeah, yeah.
Right. That said, it all depends on the salary. Some of the early leaks is that it was relatively high. If it's manageable, if they've structured it with bonuses, Inter's owners have been very careful the last couple of years. They've actually made the club profitable, which I thought was unthinkable for
Yeah,
given that
yeah.
it's Inter. So for them, it's a good pickup. For Liverpool, yeah, you get this cash in. Now you need to replace him
Yeah.
because,
It's one less body as well.
yeah, who's Liverpool's fourth midfielder right now? Fourth and numbers 4 and 5.
Yeah, I mean,
I-
behind McAllister, Soboslai, and Gravenberch, then you look at
Trainioni
yeah,
sticking
who
around.
they have a lot of hopes for. Endo can't be your fourth midfielder,
He's
really.
100 years old. He's
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
get
yeah.
that. Right?
So yeah, at least 2 are incoming for sure.
And the other thing is he's a Scouser. So now,
Yeah.
I guess, is Rio a Scouser too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
From
so
Liverpool,
so
yeah.
so at least that continues.
Yeah.
Let's talk Champions League qualification playoffs, Jules. It finishes 1-1 between Olympique Lyonnais and Fenerbahce in Istanbul. My boy Paulo Fonseca can be hopeful. Good result,
Yeah, good performance too. Not just the result. They were a bit unlucky because they considered an incredible solo goal by Mason Greenwood. The goal was outstanding. Fenerbahce as a team were not impressive at all, especially in the first half. When Lyon was solid, Tanya Tessman, the US international, I thought was really good, played really well. Great goal by Openda, Tolisso. So the second leg will be in Lyon, obviously, on Wednesday night. So they've got hopes. This is huge for Lyon. They need that money of the Champions League. That's a minimum 25 million euros for them if they make it to the league phase, and then potentially more if they do well and continue and qualify for the knockout. So it's huge. And that game on Tuesday is also huge for Fener, who've spent all that money. Lukaku came off the bench late.
I was so psyched. You said he wouldn't play, and then he just
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect him to play. Not
Not
start for sure, but even.
But like, how awesome is this? Like,
know.
I get a little bit of Lukaku.
I mean, imagine if they start Muriqi and Lukaku up front. Like, what kind of like.
He came on for Mariki, but
Yeah, but imagine them two
imagine-
together as a front two.
How can you defend that? You
I
can't.
don't know, man. It's crazy. So we see. It should be a really, really epic second leg, and make sure you watch it because I think it will be very special. And looking at other Champions League playoff games, Gabby, or certainly after the first legs, it looks like we're going to have some new faces and some old ones.
Yeah, Celtic with a big home win over Linz, so you're 3-0, so you assume that they're going to be in. The others though are all, and Bodo Glimt as well, who
Yeah.
now are like have become an old name.
Yes,
But
for
a 3-1
sure.
win away to Nijmegen, I think that tells you that they're still definitely up for it. It's great to have them back because they're good. They're a good story. The others all very much on a knife edge. Levski Sofia and AK Athens. Obviously, being Italian, like I want the Greek team to go through.
Sure.
Una razza, una faccia. Slovan Bratislava against Celje. We get to see some new faces. That's pretty cool.
And Toure is the coach of Slovan Bratislava. So that's
I
good.
thought Bratislava also have Barsegian, this like if you get a chance, watch the highlight. I was harassing Jules
You're
about this
obsessed with
before.
him now.
A ridiculous assist for the first goal. Hapoel Beersheva against Saba from Azerbaijan. Beersheva, of course, from Israel. I don't think we ever had a team from Israel or Azerbaijan
In this new format, no?
in this new format. And Vikings Stavanger, they drew 2-2 away to Dinamo Zagreb. We could have, and the opening goal was a tremendous goal as well. We could have 2 Norwegian teams.
Imagine.
Who'd have thunk it? Wow, pretty cool.
Liam Delap.
No, it's mine.
Oh,
My
sorry.
question for you. Liam Delap has lost the number 9 shirt for the upcoming season. The shirt's going to go to João Pedro. He's wearing number 12, which, where I come from, belongs to backup keepers.
Yeah.
Then again, Robert Sanchez. A lot of people don't really like him.
You think Delap as a goalkeeper?
He's a big boy. He could not.
They lost Jorgensen as well.
Chelsea denies, oh no, it's normal. Look, he and Nico and Tosin, they're training off by themselves. Weirdly, Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson are training with them too. I'm assuming it's not because they're look, they're not leaving the club. They just arrived. I don't know. I think Nico Jackson's going to find a home. I wonder Delap now with Emega coming in and Morgan Rogers and so on. But Delap is a different profile. I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought you would try to develop him for another season. After 1 year, you're not going to make, nobody's going to give you more than what you paid for him. So you're not even going to play the amortization game. Is he going to go on loan?
I don't know.
Back to Ipswich, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, loan is probably the best option, I think, unless you get a £50 million offer from somewhere.
But it's impossible.
I don't think you will get that. But then I never thought that somebody would pay what Leeds paid for Trafford either after a season on the bench.
Yeah.
So you never know clearly for this with this window and the Premier League clubs, but it must be humiliating. If you're Delap and you did nothing wrong, okay, you showed your limits at times, sure, and we've been quite critical of him, but rightly so, I think. But when you don't even get your squad number, or certainly the one that you had before, I think it's a bit embarrassing and humiliating. But he's known from the whole summer that they wanted to offload him. Let's see where he can find.
Can I help him?
Go on.
Want me to help him? And I'll help my friend Richard Hughes too.
You think, what, earlier
6 months on loan? Honestly, because look, I'm assuming, I don't know who's up front for Ipswich. Maybe you do. I don't watch the championship. So obviously I would assume that.
They signed Emerson, record signing.
Okay, so
so
that's probably not going to happen.
I mean,
right?
so they put a lot of money on him.
With Ekitike out until January, if you want a guy who's going to give you physical presence and effort and back up Isak, rather than screwing around and Gakpo up front and this and that. Like, there's no shame in it, right?
No, yeah.
Like, you do it, have an option, right? That if you fix the option at 50 million or something, Chelsea will get their money back and some amortization magic as well. And you pay a loan fee. Like, I think this is a better option.
Yeah.
You got somebody who knows the league will give you effort.
It's the most likely is that with a club, whether it's Liverpool or
probably not
else.
Liverpool. Probably somebody pitched further down. But it is. I don't understand just giving up on him like this. And like I said, different. Bro, Emega does not have the physicality of Delap, right? Nobody has the physicality.
He's got the pace though, but not the physicality. He's not as strong.
Why? In fact, I'll give you another one. Why does Nico Jackson have to be sold again? Just to make money, yeah?
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Ridiculous.
Jose Mourinho appeared on El Chiringuito in Spain and addressed his relationship with Vinicius after the ugly racism incident with Gianluca Prestiani. Remember in the Real Madrid-Benfica game in the Champions League last season. Gab, what did he say?
Well, he said exactly what I expected him to say. Like they asked him, before they asked him about that, they asked him about Lamine Yamal. Oh, would you want to work with Lamine Yamal? He's like, no, because I work with somebody better. Ha. So it's just Mourinho show stuff. He did say that, he's found ways to protect himself from that part of who he is, i.e., I suppose the part of him that goes insane and pokes people in the eye and stuff like that.
That kind of guy.
But on the Prestiani thing was interesting because this is how Mourinho sees football. And a lot of people in football see it that way. He said, Prestiani was my player, so there was no discussion. I was going to defend him.
Yeah, he said he told me he was innocent.
But even that, because he's not innocent, right?
Yeah,
he's not stupid,
but
But if
him,
my player, I'll defend him. Vini's my player now. I will go to war with him. And you know that Mourinho will go to war for his own players. At least as long as he needs them. Jules, Premier League referee boss Howard Webb did his media briefing. He said a lot of interesting things. He said the Balogun case was concerning because it opens up conspiracy theories, which, by the way, you can say, oh, thank you, Captain Obvious. But people need to speak up about this.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
really,
it's
really
good.
bad. So thank you, Howard, for doing that.
Yeah.
We also found out that RefCam this season will include audio.
Yeah, that's good. I think it was something that we saw. RefCam was great. I think the audio will help in some incidents too, and people will understand. We know how players talk to referees and how referees talk to players because we've been in the game long enough. But a lot of players don't really know that kind of dynamic. It's good. They will also publish some like weekly judgment from the key match incident panel, which reviews, a lot of the incident and things like that. So they want more transparency, which I think we all okay with that. And for the conspiracy theories and what happened to Balogun in the red card of the World Cup, imagine if like somebody, I don't know, Liverpool or Man United called Andy Burnham or Everton because that's Andy Burnham's club,
Right.
and said, Iliman Ndiaye just got sent off. Is there anything you can do with that red card? It would be fun.
Yeah, I on that one. And by the way, if I ever run into the leaders of USSF who were part of the process, as they put it, I will ask them flat out about this. So yeah, JT, avoid me. But they also, I'm sorry, I don't want to. Howard Webb as a referee, we like some things he did, some things he didn't do. I think he's doing all the right. He's doing exactly. I mean, I would say this. He's doing exactly what I would do. They also want to. Make the audio from the VAR room public as well. IFAB has said no to that. They're not allowed to do that, but this is what they want to do. I think it's fantastic.
It's
what he's
good,
doing.
yeah.
You can always criticize and whatever, but he's making the right decisions there.
On Monday, we told you that a group including Jeff Bezos and Facebook co-founder Eduardo Saverin and led by Amit Bhatia had acquired 33% of shares in Liverpool. Actually, Gabi, is 38%. Why is that significant?
So I want to fuel the whole Liverpool conspiracy sphere. So the news that came out on Friday saying they won 33%.
So like a third of...
Yeah, that came from the club. Presumably they had agreed everything, the contracts are right, and then obviously the contracts get published and people get notified and it's 38%. Why give out the wrong number when the real number is going to come out a few days later? That's what a lot of people are querying.
And why is that for?
Why?
Yeah, why? Do you have an idea?
I have no idea. I don't care to speculate. It does maybe mean that the price is going to be a little bit lower than we thought. It doesn't fundamentally change things, but did somebody at Liverpool screw up? I'd like to hear an explanation.
Yeah.
Monaco have terminated Paul Pogba's contract. This was a while ago. We're talking about it now. Jules, I'm coming in terms of the fact that I'm not going to see him again.
Oh, no, you will see him again, Gabby. You will see him again, just not in France, not in Europe probably now.
Kings League?
It would be, it would be like MLS or Saudi Arabia, where apparently they already have some contacts there. It was another injury. He played in a friendly in preseason and did quite well, actually, wearing the armband as well. But could not stay fit. And I think Monaco, who already obviously were without him a lot of last season and tried that gamble of a 2-year contract, but we're very clear if that first season doesn't work, the contract won't go to the end. And I think Paul was in agreement with that. It's a shame because I think we all got a bit excited when he got to Monaco. Say, what if he could stay fit? Will we see him back close to his level? That won't happen, certainly not at the top European level. So let's see where he goes. But I hope he finds some happiness somewhere because he's been another frustrating.
He wants to keep playing?
Yeah, he does, definitely, yeah. He will go somewhere else. I just don't know where yet, and I don't know how much he's going to play because fitness seems, again, to be the biggest problem.
If you're going to hire him, I mean, he has enough money. Presumably it's going to be some pay-for-play type contract.
Absolutely. You're right, absolutely. Gab, why is the Bundeskartel, whatever?
Bundeskartellamt!
And why are we talking about them?
Because it's it's kind of like the German antitrust, and basically they came out with a ruling that it's okay for German football to have the so-called 50+1 rule, and in other words, it's a way of maintaining fan ownership. Now, obviously, there's carve-outs, there's exceptions: Wolfsburg, Bayer Leverkusen, and so on. Hoffenheim, Leipzig, although they did it in a slightly different way. Some people wanted to see a ruling that made it illegal so that they could get big investment, foreign owners, or not necessarily, or even rich German owners. Like they don't have to be foreign. But no, it's going to maintain. It's going to keep it like this. I personally think it's a positive thing. I don't see the benefits of an arm race in football ever. So, and a lot of people, as we know, fans of the Bundesliga, I think, are probably the most passionate. Because if you don't, like, fans of La Liga are probably mostly fans of Barcelona and Real Madrid rather than fans of like the whole institution. Fans of the Premier League can get a little bit cynical. Fans of Serie A, even more so.
Yeah.
But fans who love the Bundesliga, they really love the
Yeah,
Bundesliga. They
yeah.
love the fan power and so on. And 50+1 is one of the big things that make
Yeah,
the Bundesliga
absolutely.
what it is. Axel Witsel has found a home, and it's still by the sea. After leaving Girona, the Belgian golden generation OG will be taking his skills to Nice, where he'll still get excellent seafood.
Yeah, 37 years young for Witsel. Like the last challenge show, I think they had a few injuries. They lost one of the midfielders that they bought in the summer, who would come in, and that was bad for them. So they needed some sort of urgency there. They signed him. I think he wants to stay a bit longer and do like a Dante. That's certainly what he explained to the media yesterday on Sunday or on Wednesday or on Tuesday.
Wait, is Dante still there?
No, but just, like Dante
No.
41. I think he's
Where
there.
did he leave?
No, he went.
Did he leave
Dante,
did he go somewhere else?
he went. He's now the coach of Bayern's under 21s.
Wow.
But so I think the idea for Witsel was like, hey, maybe I can be a bit of your new Dante kind of thing.
And look, and David will go like,
then
hey,
look-
look, I can grow big hair as well,
yeah,
just like Dante.
He's got that already. So let's see. But I like
awesome.
that because I think Witsel could have gone to probably more lucrative destinations and offers because Nice don't have much money to offer. But I'm glad he took that challenge on.
Wait, Nice don't have much money. Why? Do they not have a generous owner who's a brilliant billionaire businessman?
I think the taps are not working anymore. The training ground and in the offices. Como are pursuing Milan, Samuele Ricci, and Fiorentina, Moise Kean, both of whom happen to be Italian. Gab, just like you, are Como just realizing now that there are homegrown player requirements in the Champions League where they will be playing this season?
I should ask you
But
this.
by
You're the one
coincidence,
wearing the Como shirt.
I'm just wondering. Yeah, and I thought, hey, they're the vibe of the moment.
They signed Mattia Liberali, who is very close to where my mom's side of the family's from in suburban Milan. Shout out to Lissone, by the way, former Milan guy. They're very excited about him. But yeah, you need to have 4 guys from your own academy, and you need to have 4 guys who are association-trained players, which if you're an Italian club means they have to be Italian.
Yeah.
They've got various backup goalkeepers and various direct that they like kind of inherited. But last year, the team was entirely made up of foreigners.
Yeah.
Ricci and Ken are not going to come cheap. It seems strange to me that we're in mid-August and this club's been all about planning, all about being smarter than everybody else. It seems like, oh, look, we're only kind of realizing this now that we need to do this. If you don't have them, you don't have those Champions League slots, and you do it with 17 players. Maybe that's what they'll do. Como likes to do things differently. Patrick Vieira is the new Senegal coach. Jules, your thoughts?
Absolutely love this. I have to say, and not just because obviously we love Patrick and we know him really well and he's a friend, but because for somebody who had at times maybe a bit of a difficult relationship with the country where he was born, but obviously didn't live because he moved to France when he was really young. But the last 15 or 20 years, he has really reconnected with that country. He set up the Jambars Academy, which is for the young talents in Senegal that has provided a lot of players who went on to have really good career, became pro, changed the whole dynamic for the region, for example, and for a lot of kids of those generations. And now I think this is wonderful for him to have that chance to take his country really, or his second country if you want, or his other country to big tournaments, to try to win trophies with a great generation coming through as well is very exciting. I'm so happy for him, and I think he's a really good pick from the federation.
I'm very happy for him too. I also think he's probably had some. I don't think he's been treated as well as he should have been by some of the clubs that he was at that then let him go. I think he's a smart guy, and I think he's got everything to be a top coach. And now he's going to have really top players if the federation stick with him. And I think we saw with the previous guy's name escapes me right now. They're willing to stick with somebody even when he's getting criticism, because you get a lot of criticism.
Oh yeah,
Because the
yeah,
expectations are so
for
high
sure.
because there's so much talent. But I think if Patrick Vieira can navigate that, let's see what happens. Next AFCON in Uganda, I think. 2027.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. Chelsea have rebranded their under-21 team as Cobham Next Gen. Gab, do you understand why? And do you like this new name?
Cobham is where Chelsea's training ground is. So why you would divorce Chelsea, which is your brand?
So they're not called Chelsea FC. They're not called Chelsea. So in this like under-21 league that the Premier League has,
and in the UEFA Youth League and stuff.
So it'll be Arsenal against Cobham Next Gen.
Yes.
Is this like a video game? It's like the kind of name that we use on PlayStation when we play video games.
Well, will you rebrand your team?
Yeah. You know, you've got
Jules's boys.
Yeah, exactly. Or your FPL team.
Look, if you want to get people talking about it, this is one way to do it. Chelsea have had for years, right? Arguably the best youth academy.
Sure.
The best pipeline.
Yeah.
I think they already in their release, they pointed out that their under 21 team is actually an under 18 team, right?
Yeah.
So you really want to emphasize that brand, maybe because maybe later you want to spin it off and claw some money back from. I don't know. I honestly don't know what it is. It's something a marketing guy came up with, but we are talking about it. I don't love the next gen side.
So the next gen in Italy, that's because Juve have a next gen team, but that's the whole name of the whole of that.
It's called Juventus Next Gen.
Yeah.
But it's not like Milan's B team. It's called Milan Futuro, like future Milan.
Yeah.
Right?
But you keep your name in the name of your club in it.
Or you can call yourself, which I think some other clubs have done, like Inter under 23. You can do that too. It's secure. But look,
this looks like they didn't have the right to call themselves Chelsea Next Gen, so they put Cobham as the closest. Again, like a video game that doesn't have the right.
I think maybe I think it's more like they really want to push the Cobham as a brand.
Yeah.
But fair play to that. I have less of it. They know people are gonna make fun of them.
Yeah.
I have less of an issue with it. That you're trying something different with the name.
Sure.
I don't think it's scandalous.
If they're happy, I'm happy.
If you were to rebrand Chelsea as London FC, then we may have a problem. Jules,
West London FC.
This brings us to an end, but what do you say we come back Monday?
And
go back over the first week of the season in England, in Italy, for Real Madrid and Barcelona, and for France as well. Until then, love the game, love your neighbor, love yourself.